were thinking. It said they didn't speak a word. Don't tell me they weren't praying. See, you can pray and not say a word. You ever been in a situation where God didn't want you to speak, so you spoke on the inside? Amen.
Yes.
And that's effective. And that's powerful.
Yes.
They kept silent.
Wow.
They went around 6 days, one time around the city silent. But then on the 7th day, they marched around the city 7 times.
Wow.
And then they gave a big shout. And the walls came in on the city of Jericho. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Rahab was spared. Joshua 6:25. Now, I've tried to understand this, and we're not going to. All the walls fell in. Where did Rahab live?
On the wall.
On the wall. Don't tell me God didn't keep her little room safe.
Oh, wow.
Her little house safe. It wasn't hard to figure out where she lived because everything else was crushed. But there was a house still standing that was inside the wall.
Yes. Wow.
Had the cord on it.
Yes. Amen.
That's where Rahab was. 6:25. However, Rahab the harlot and her father's household and all she had, Joshua spared.
Wow.
And she lived in the midst of Israel to this day, for she hid the messengers from whom Joshua sent to spy out Jericho. Rahab saved her whole household.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be awesome? That when we see Jesus someday, he says, you're the one who reached out and helped save your household.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about you, but I want to be a Rahab. Amen.
Amen.
I want to be a Rahab. Sister Cherie, that's Old Testament. That don't apply to me. That was years ago. If it didn't apply to you, then it wouldn't. Her name wouldn't be written several times in the New Testament. Did you know that?
Yeah.
It sure is. See, Hebrews chapter 11 is the chapter of faith, the heroes of faith. There's only a few women listed. Guess who's one of them? Rahab is.
Wow.
By faith, the prostitute Rahab, because she welcomed the spies, was not killed with those who were disobedient.
Wow.
There was something different about her. She had a heart.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, if you got to sit down and talk to her, she would say everything that happened in Jericho was my past. And that isn't who I am. See, once she became part of the children of Israel, she changed.
Yes.
She changed. I'm sure it was hard for her. I'm sure if anyone was in the town gossip, it was her. Amen.
Yeah.
She was a foreigner. She was outside. But there was something about Rahab. She knew without a shadow of a doubt who God was. He spared her and her whole household.
That's right.
She knew God. She got married to a man named Solomon. And she became a mother. God bless the mothers. Amen. There's something about a good mother that makes the difference. How do we know she made a difference? Because she had a fruitful tree. Boy, that we could have a fruitful tree like she had. See, she married a guy named Solomon. And they had a baby named Boaz. You ever heard of him?
Oh, yes.
Boaz married Ruth. He is the example in the Bible of the kinsman redeemer. Boaz's whole position in the Bible and the story of Ruth is a reflection of Jesus. See, he was raised in Rahab's arms. She told him, God's important. God saved me. He saved me. He saved all my people. He grew up hearing and knowing who God was. And I believe it's because Rahab could never stop for a minute but to thank God for what he did for her. She never woke up and took a day for granted. She knew everything she knew back here was gone, and God had a beautiful future ahead for her. And she poured all her love into her babies about God. Amen. Then there was a king born, David. She was David's great-grandma. Did you know that? He got to hear about the stories of what happened with Grandma. And then she had the greatest honor in her family tree, Jesus, Yeshua. She's way up the tree, and God chose her for the lineage of Jesus. Don't tell me Rahab didn't matter. She did. She did. See, God doesn't see people the same way we see them. We look on the outside, but the Lord looks at the heart. Amen. Aren't you glad God